In this video, you are going to learn why dog training will not get you to your goal of having a well-trained dog. And whether you use positive reinforcement, balanced or punishment-based training, you will see why self-control training is so much better and more effective for you and your dog than compliance-based dog training. You have a dog who is over 6 months old and you're still using long lines and flexi leads because recall is shaky, using crates because they won't chill out and relax outside of it, telling them to get off or to sit when they greet new people because they still jump up, holding them back when gates and doors are open because they'll run out, and shutting them out of rooms when food is on show because they'll steal it. You are using compliance-based dog training, so your dog hasn't learned how to control themselves, and as a result, their freedom and their life is limited. You need to move on to self-control-based training techniques now, or you will be forever doing everything that you are at the moment. Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm a dog behaviour specialist from Essex. The goal of this channel is to give you as much dog training and behaviour advice as possible. If you like what you see and you want to learn more, it's completely free to subscribe to my channel. Let's get back to the video. Everyone wants a well-trained dog, but not everyone loves the dog training journey. Usually dog trainers and behaviourists do, which is why we do what we do for a living. But for everyone else, they just want to get to their goals. A lot of dog owners want a dog who doesn't actually do dog things. They don't like barking, scavenging for food, chasing other animals, digging, charging around in the environment. Usually these activities are known as problem behaviours, when in actual fact they're just normal dog behaviours that humans don't like. It's a really tough gig being a dog. This is where dog training comes into place, to teach the dog to do something different. Now, thankfully, dogs are a lot smarter than humans and they learn things fairly quickly. Dogs are usually trained in 2 ways. Number 1, compliance-based training, do as I say. Number 2, self-control-based training, which is control yourself and your desires without me needing to say or do anything. The reason why dog training fails is because most dog owners like to train with compliance, which means if I tell you to do something, do it now. The problem with this is our command or cue word is usually given because of something that we see in the environment or a change that we know is about to happen within the environment. This means it relies heavily on us seeing, hearing or knowing about the change to the environment first so that we can give the command at the right time for our dog. So there is a hell of a lot of variables within that way of training. And what runs parallel with this is humans are hideously inconsistent. Sometimes we're very on the ball when it comes to dog training. We're fully committed to what we need to be doing and we're very aware of everything within the environment and what our dog is doing. And sometimes, well, we're not. We're on our phones having a chat with someone, our back is turned, we're watching TV, or we're busy thinking about work or family or other things, and our mind just isn't in the moment of the dog training. This usually means our awareness and our timing is way off. An unfortunate addition to being hideously inconsistent is we're also so impatient. We often skip out crucial foundation levels of training and we try to jump through to the end result of where we actually want the dog to be at without putting in anywhere near enough training and groundwork first. We also change the goalposts a lot. Sometimes the dog is on lead, sometimes a long line, sometimes they're off lead, sometimes we're on our own, sometimes we have a friend with us who we're chatting with, and sometimes we just can't be asked. So we are inconsistent, yet we expect the dog to be reliably consistent. And this is why focusing on compliance-based dog training, even if trained with positive reinforcement, is highly unlikely to give you solid, long-lasting results. And you will nearly always be in the dog training part of dog owning. So you're teaching compliance, but what you actually want is your dog to have self-control and for them to use self-control so you don't have to ask them to do something every single time. Now, there's nothing wrong with your dog understanding some cue words, so you can ask them to do something and they can perform that action at that time. But relying on compliance-based dog training will almost guarantee to keep your dog stupid and will never get beyond the having to tell the dog what to do stage. For a dog to be trained using compliance-based dog training, they would have to understand the following things. Number 1, the cue word or action you are giving them. They need to be able to see or hear you. Number 2, the behaviour or action you are asking them to do. For example, sit, run at me, lay down, heel. Number 3, The context of the situation needs to be doable for them. They need to have been taught it in that situation to a level that is good enough for them to be reliable at it, regardless of any variable whatsoever. And number 4, a lot of compliant-based training revolves around you seeing the changes to the environment first. On the flip side to that, for a dog to be trained using self-control-based training, they only have to understand the following things. Number 1, this equals that. This could be anything. It could be a dog running in the distance, a hoover being put on in the house, a back gate being open, someone walking into the lounge with food. All of these things are real life occurrences, and they can all mean something to your dog and cue them what to do if you teach with self-control based training as opposed to compliance based dog training. Let's have a look at some real life examples of this. I was walking our collie cross in our usual walk and taking photos of my other dog. I looked round to see where the collie cross was, and she was lying down staring intently at me. So I looked over my shoulder and realised that she was riding a bike through the park. Now previously, this dog would have been long gone. She would have been gone chasing after the wheels and the person and been a nightmare to get back. But instead, she was lying on the floor, intently staring at me, because we'd taught her through self-control based training that cyclist equals a ball. So now, had I been teaching her with compliance-based dog training, no matter how strong her recall was, she would have still gone off after the cyclist because I hadn't seen it before her. And the chances of her hearing me mid-chase at a huge distance that's only getting bigger would have been fairly slim. Now, because she was taught with self-control based training and environmental cue based dog training, she saw the cyclist and her response was to use her self-control and wait for the ball without me saying a word. A client of mine had a beautiful Doberman, but we had to introduce some self-control because the dog was just so excited about the environment and absolutely was looking for any opportunity to go on a wander or to go investigating things that would have got her into a lot of trouble. This Doberman was out for a wee in the garden, and the back gate had been left unlocked at some point and it had blown open. When the owner realised that the back gate was open, the dog was laying on their boundary bed in the garden because the dog had been taught with self-control and environmental cue techniques that whenever the back gate is open, they need to target the boundary bed. They also needed a cue word to be released off the boundary bed, which meant the dog was quite happy to just lay there until the owner came out. Now, had this been taught with compliance-based training, to sit and stay when the gate is opened or to recall if they walk through the gate and the door, the dog would have gone on a wander because no one had asked the dog to sit or stay or to come back. All of my dogs know that when food comes out, they have to go and lay down and relax somewhere. It's not me that tells them to do this. The sight or smell of the food triggers this response. And then they'll go and lay down somewhere. Now, this may be near me, it might be on the sofa, it might be on their bed, it may be on the floor. It doesn't matter where they lay, as long as they're not trying to get the food and they're just happy to chill out and lay there whilst food is out, it doesn't matter. But the most important thing is it's the food that tells them to do that, not me. I got a real love for teaching self-control when I watched Susan Garrett's Recallers programme and learned all about her It's Your Choice games. For anyone who doesn't know about Susan Garrett, go and stalk the life out of her content. She is absolutely awesome and you really won't regret it. I soon realised that by watching and applying her techniques, that self-control based training is not only more fun to teach, but I learned that by controlling the resource and not the dog, the environment will train the dog for you. Don't get me wrong, the environment will train the dog for you if you use compliance-based dog training, but it's highly unlikely to go in your favour. But sadly, whilst you're trying to control your dog and get them to do what you say, you'll just become the fun police and you'll be the stealer of fun instead of the awesome giver of fun. You need to reteach yourself. Everything that you know and do at the moment is likely to be hindering your progress. We always like the dog to do something for us first in exchange for what we have. But what if what we have is not as valuable as what they want? Our reward is no longer rewarding. It's now just another barrier in the way of what they want to have. And this makes it even more desirable. Silent dog training, where this equals that, is the best foundation steps that you can start to take for your dog and to help to build their self-control. If you're looking for help and support for your dog, check out my behaviour support programs.